morning, third graders. It's good to be back with you. I hope that you had a restful weekend and fun with your parents and your families. This is going to be only a 3-day week, which is going to be fun, right? 3-day week, and then Thursday you actually have that day off, and then we go into spring break, and so you've got a fun long break to look forward to. So let's do our best work this week, and I'm going to start us here with some grammar. Last week we talked about quotation marks, and I'm wondering how many of you found my little bloopers, calling them parentheses a few times, but we know they're not parentheses. They kind of look like little parentheses, but they're not. They're quotation marks, and they go around a quote of someone saying something, and there are rules for making sure that the quote is set up right. So we're going to review that each day this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You have a sheet in your folder that I sent home with you, and it looks like this. I think I have a little red tab on it. I'm hoping I did that. I think I did that. And it's called Using Quotation Marks. All right, and I just pulled out a bunch of dialogue from our Homer Price book, if you remember our Homer Price book that we read at the beginning of the year. And you're going to make the corrections on adding quotation marks and fixing the punctuation, okay? So that's one thing you're going to do this week. And then you are also going to do an exercise out of your grammar book. It's going to be on page 80, better put my glasses on because I'm not sure. 83. And there's 2 big boxes. I'll give you one box for one day and another box for another day. I haven't written out my lessons yet for your lesson plans for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but each day you will either have this or one of these boxes to fix quotation marks. So let's just do a couple of examples on the board. Please watch. Don't tune this out and say, I know how to do this, because I noticed a lot of mistakes, especially punctuation mistakes, grammatical mistakes last week on some of your papers. Okay, last week I didn't grade your book. I just had you do it just so that you were getting the feel of it, but I didn't grade it. This week I'm going to grade each exercise. So this is going to be graded, and these 2 boxes will be graded. So make sure you watch. You will have quotes that are at the beginning of the sentence, and you'll have quotes that are at the end of the sentence. And it's really important that you watch how we do these. So I'm going to start with this page. Number 1, the sentence says, after the game, Homer said, I'm feeling sort of hungry. All right? So think about that. Is that quote at the end of the sentence? Does Homer say that at the end? Or is the quote at the beginning of the sentence? Is it at the end or the beginning? I'm going to say it again. After the game, Homer said, I'm feeling sort of hungry. Okay, he said his quote at the end, didn't he? So we're going to write it over here. After the game, Homer said, I'm feeling, on some of these, I don't know if I did that, doesn't look like I did. Okay, Homer said, I'm feeling sort of hungry. Now, in these sentences, I left out things like periods, or I mean, not necessarily periods, but end marks. And I don't think I did in this sheet. I don't think I left any capital letters off, so I think you're good there. But I did leave off end marks, and I left off quotation marks, and I didn't underline the explanatory words, which is the person who's saying it. So these are really important things to notice. In this sentence, I would want to make sure that it starts with a capital letter. Every sentence does, right? And then I'm going to see who said it. After the game, Homer said. Some of you underlined this whole thing. You don't have to do that. Just whoever said it, Homer said. Just so that you see, okay, this is the person who's talking, and I'm going to underline that. And now we're going to pause. Homer said, we're always going to need to put a comma there. So we're going to put a comma after said. Okay, after the game, Homer said, comma. Now we're going to put quotation marks around what he said. I'm feeling sort of hungry. Now, that's just a statement. So we're going to end it with a period. That's our end mark. Quotation marks go after the end mark. Quotation marks. Now, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, oh, I forgot to put, for I'm, it needs an apostrophe, doesn't it? So, because that is a contraction, I am, I'm. Okay, that's all we needed to do for that sentence. Now let's do one more. Number one, by the way, number one is already done for you on this sheet. It gives you an example. But we're going to do number two, okay? I'm going to say it, and you decide if it is a beginning quote or an end quote. Don't eat too many cookies, Homer's mother warned. Okay, is the quote in the beginning or at the end? Don't eat too many cookies, Homer's mother warned. Yeah, it's in the beginning. She's saying that in the beginning. So it's a beginning quote. I'm going to write it here. Don't eat too many, I'm going to do this so we don't get mixed up. Don't eat too many cookies, Homer's mother warned. Okay, so we want to find our quote, which we know it's in the beginning. Don't eat too many cookies. That's the whole quote. That's exactly what Homer's mother said. So always make sure it's a capital letter. We put our quotation marks in the beginning. Don't eat too many cookies. Okay. I think it's just a statement. But let's say she shouted it from the other room. Don't eat too many cookies. I'm going to put an exclamation mark there. And then I'm going to put my quotation marks around it. Okay. Homer's mother. Oh, it's Homer's mother, so it's a possessive noun. Okay. Homer's mother warned. Okay, so it's his mother and she warned. Those are the explanatory words. She's doing the explaining. Don't eat too many cookies. Homer's mother warned, period. All right. So there's some examples of beginning quotes and end quotes and how I want you to underline the explanatory rules and what the rules are. Now, in your book, so this one is a little bit easier because I don't really have you making a lot of corrections on grammar, on punctuation, okay? It is missing in marks, I see that, and maybe some in marks for at the end of the quote, those types of things. It's missing quotation marks. But in the book, they leave all the grammatical corrections up to you. And I want you to get them correct. Don't leave them out. So the very first one, I'm just going to write it up here is what I'm going to do. And show you an example. And then we'll be done with this, okay? First, let's decide if it's an end quote or a beginning quote, just for fun. The very first sentence in this book says, the patient asked, why does my head hurt? Okay, is the quote at the beginning of the sentence or at the end? The patient asked, why does my head hurt? Well, it's at the end. He's saying, why does my head hurt? That comes at the end. Now, they wrote it out just like this. Now, watch this. They wrote, the patient asked, why does my head hurt? Okay, and that's exactly how they wrote it. Now you have to make all of the changes below. Let's find the quote first. Well, it's an end quote, so we know the patient asked, and we're going to put a comma there. And here's his quote. Why does my head hurt? We put quotation marks around the beginning of his quote, and you capitalize what he said. It's like a new sentence in a way, so you capitalize why. You capitalize that W, and so you're going to put a capital W over that small one, and that tells me that you know that's supposed to be a capital. Why does my head hurt? Is he asking a question? He sure is. So we're going to put a question mark and then our quotations. Now we've got our quote taken care of. Why does my head hurt? Now I need to look at the beginning of the sentence here. The patient asked. Is that capitalized? It needs to be, doesn't it? So you're going to write a capital T over that. The patient asked. Now we need to underline the explanatory words. Who is actually saying, why does my head hurt? It's the patient. So you could just underline, you could underline the whole thing, but you really just need to underline it's the patient who asked. Okay? So there's an example of what you would do in the book. All right, that is all we're doing for Shirley Grammar today. I will tell you exactly which assignments to do on your lesson plans that I send your parents. This is just to help you with the rules. All right, you guys have a great day. You are working great on your assignments. I am so proud of each one of you. All right.